Hi, honey. All right, good morning, everybody. Let's just start with some nice deep breaths in and then out. So today we're going to be on the floor a little bit. Actually, probably a good portion of the class today will be on the floor. We have a few exercises that we're going to do standing. We have a couple of exercises that we're going to do with a resistance band. We're just going to take nice deep breaths in and out. Good, one more. Let's bring those arms down, thumbs pointing forwards, and we're going to roll the shoulders up, back, and down into your back pocket. We spend a lot of time in a forward position, so I usually just do shoulder rolls going backwards to try to kind of counteract that little bit of a rounded posture we end up with. Good. Shoulders down and back in your back pocket, ear to shoulder, side to side. So we want to keep our shoulders nice and relaxed. And it's just a little pivot. So our nose is kind of the pivot point, and we're just moving side to side. So think about like a clock. Good. Bring the head up, and we're going to tuck the chin just a little bit, and we're going to look to the right and look to the left. And again, we want to think about our head staying nice and level, our body stays nice and neutral and centered. So just the head is turning. And if we're tight in the neck, when we turn our head, a lot of times our body will follow. And that's when we start to feel a little more pain and discomfort when we start getting into our spine. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in the center, brace the core, arms up, and we're just going to open and then close. So just a little swing. Good. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it into the center. Inhale up, reach, and then exhale back. So just think about thumb pointing forwards. It's kind of a slicing or chopping motion. Just nice, good up and down. And we're keeping our core nice and tight. So we don't want to reach back and reach forwards and make this with our movement with our spine. We want just the shoulders. So if you're kind of tight, your shoulders might be here. And that's okay. Here's 2 and 1. Bring it in. We're going to tap it out to the side. Reach the arms across the body. So a little bit of a hip turn, but we're stretching out our backs. Good. 4, 3, 2. Now change it. We're going to add a little bit of a side bend. So we're going to reach up and just kind of a little sway of our hips. This is also good because we're working on weight shifting. So depending on how active you are, how old you are, this might feel super easy. But that weight shift is something we need to keep working on throughout our lives. Good. 2, 1. Bring it in the center, feet hip width apart, shoulders down, arms out to the side, thumbs pointing up towards the ceiling. Moving from our shoulders, we're going to do just little shoulder circles. So watch the difference between a shoulder circle and then just kind of an elbow circle or just a wrist circle. Want it to come from the shoulders. Let's change direction. Again, shoulders away from the ears, just nice good circles. 2 and 1. We're going to bring our arms down, feet hip width apart, toes pointing forwards, and we're going to go for our hip circles. Good, and let's change direction. So good circles here. Good, bring it in. We're gonna turn our toes out towards the corners. And again, work on those hip circles. And this is a time to kind of notice, do you shift your weight into one hip a little more than the other? Good, change direction. Does it kind of feel like one side, your circle is pretty comfortable and the other side just feels really awkward? Because that can happen. Good, and then bring it in and we're gonna rotate from the hips. And today I'm gonna just have my big toes touching. If your feet don't do that, don't force it. But this is the position that I feel it the most, that internal rotation. So I am trying to make sure that I don't let this leg start to rotate its way out. Good, change direction. So that's why I'm making sure my toes are touching, but they don't have to touch. I'm trying to be a little bit more aware. And I don't know if you can tell, this feels so awkward to me today. 2 and 1, good, bring it in. We're gonna do our leg swings. Hold on to something if you need to. It can be a wall, a countertop, a chair. We're gonna stand nice and tall, and we're just gonna start to swing our hip forwards and backwards. And you can see I start with a small swing. And then when I start to feel a little bit looser, as long as I feel okay, I can start to make it bigger. But I'm keeping my upper body steady, so I'm not letting myself swing. Or again, I don't want to arch and round my low back. I'm really working on that hip. Good, 3, 2, 1. Let's switch it over to the other side. Same thing. And again, just stand nice and tall and start with a little swing. And I know it kind of looks like I'm arching my low back when I go back, and I'm not. It's really just my fluffy butt kind of lifting up a little bit. But it's just a nice, good swing. And again, this is my goofy side where I have SI joint issues, but I'm feeling a little bit looser now. Good, 2 and 1, bring it in. Now we're gonna do our side cross in front. I like to stand a little bit away from the wall. You can hold on to a table, have your space under the table for your feet to move, but I'm gonna be a foot or 2 away, and I'm gonna take it out and then a little cross. And this is another one, start small. And then as you start to feel a little bit looser, we're gonna make it a little bit bigger. And you are gonna get a little bit of a rotation of your pelvis over that standing leg. So this one, the standing leg, you don't have to keep it perfectly in alignment. You're gonna get that little bit of a rotation, pelvis over your femur. 2 and 1, go ahead, bring it in, switch it over to the other side, same thing. And again, we just take it out and a little cross in front. So it's not a huge turn. We're not turning and turning our thigh up to the ceiling. We're still keeping our knees pointing forwards. It's a nice, good lift. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in, little shake out. We're gonna take our legs wider. So side lunge position, legs wide, straddle, and we're gonna do kind of a gentle pulse to the right, gentle pulse to the left. And I know that our warm-up is pretty routine for each class, but that's because this is a great warm-up to do before anything. So before you do some mobility, before you stretch, before you do a strength class. And I know it's a little bit of a longer warm-up. You can shorten it just a little bit, because warm-ups really shouldn't take too long. So, but if you're feeling a little off that day, if you're feeling extra tight, a longer warm-up is not going to hurt you. It's actually going to help you. And for some people, the warm-up is a bit of a workout. That's okay. Go ahead, bring it into the center, legs nice and straight. We're gonna hinge at our hips, neutral spine, and we're gonna reach forward, middle, and then back. And we want to try to avoid is rounding just to touch the floor, or maybe we're keeping a neutral spine, but we're bending our knees. I want you to try to keep the legs straight and hinge. And if you can't touch the floor, that's okay. So you start high, and then as you start to loosen up, you can go a little bit farther. Maybe you can touch, but if your hips are okay with it, you start with a wider stance. Forward, middle, reverse, forward, middle, reverse. Good, couple more. Last one. Good, carefully bring it all the way up. Keep the legs nice and wide, arms out to the side, side lunge, little torso rotation. We're gonna reach our hand, and maybe you're reaching your hand towards your knee. Maybe you can side lunge and kind of reach it towards your calf, or maybe you can go towards the floor. What I want you to think about is when this hand goes to the floor, your opposite hand reaches up towards the ceiling. We're opening that shoulder up. So that's what I want you to kind of focus on, is opening the shoulder. You're kind of trying to turn your upper body sideways. Good, two more. Just two. And one. And we're going to go into a plank position. I'm just going to stay here. Hands down to the floor. Step it back. And we're going to go for a down dog back into a plank. So down dog and plank. Incline planks, incline down dog is amazing. And I know sometimes when we do this exercise, I have people do a child's pose to a knee plank, but I would like you to try to do a down dog into a plank, just to try to hit those muscles, even if it's only a couple. Down dog to plank. Here's two. And one. Go ahead, carefully bring it in. We're going to carefully take our knees down towards the ground. You can come to a kneeling position, and then we are going to come up to standing for an exercise. So come up however you would like. If you have an open wall nearby, we're going to use the wall. If you don't, then you're not going to use the wall, obviously. You're going to do the same exercise. It's just going to feel a little bit different. So we are going to do our shoulder cars, controlled articular rotations. We're going to be sideways to the wall. The farther away from the wall you start, the easier this is. And we're going to start with the back of the hand against the wall. We're going to start to draw a circle. When we get to the top, we're going to rotate so our palm is against the wall. And then we're going to continue the circle down and around. And then we're going to do palm to the wall, get to the top, rotate, and then bring it down. So we're going to bring it up and around and down, up and around and down. And if you're really tight, you might be starting pretty far away from the wall, and that's okay. And then if you're a little bit looser, if you have happy, healthy shoulders, then you can start to come closer to the wall. And after you do a few, then you can again take a little bit, just a tiny step closer, bring it up, and then take it back around. If you don't have the wall accessible, you can still do your shoulder circles. What tends to happen, especially on the way back, is we start to rotate our torso because we're tight in the chest. Good, one more right here. Up and around, and then back around. Good, and kind of shake it out. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. I just have to watch out for the nails that are in my wall. Good, so we're just gonna do back of the hand to the wall. Start again farther away, circle it up, get to the top, palm facing the wall, and then bring it around. It's usually the going backwards that most people have the biggest struggle with. So if you have issues with your shoulders, once you get to the top, most people are okay once you're here, but as soon as you turn and start to go behind, that's when a lot of people start to have issues. So again, you start farther away, and then you can, do a few, and then maybe you do, maybe not even a foot's width closer. So just a couple of inches. So up and around, and you're probably going to find that one shoulder works better than the other. Most of us have one shoulder. We always say I have one shoulder that's strong and one that's coordinated. Good. I'm going to try to go a little bit closer because this should be my happier side. And again, when we come up, we don't want to lean away from the wall and turn just so we can finish that circle. Good. We're going to go for a couple more. Good. Bring it in, shake it out. We're going to take it down to the floor. And if you don't want to do this on the floor, you can still kind of do this standing. But we're going to do some internal rotations, and we're going to take our arm out to the side in a little bit of an angle. So we're going to take it all the way down. And you can also take like a little bit of a shirt. I like to do this one. I like to take a little bit like a shirt or something and put it underneath my elbow. Not super thick, just enough to have your elbow neutral versus dropped down to the floor. We're going to take it all the way down. And on our backs, we're going to start with our elbow. It can be at an angle. It does not need to be straight out to the side. So shoulder down, think about good shoulder stability at an angle, and we're going to focus on taking the back of the hand to the floor and then back up to center. So back of the hand to the floor and then up to the center. The closer your elbow is to your body, the more shoulder stable this exercise is. So you are more than welcome to start with your elbow in and just go out. So it's a similar exercise, it's a little bit different. You are welcome to start with the elbow close, and then we take it out at an angle. Again, we don't have to bring it straight out to the side. So start at an angle, 2, and 1. And now we're going to go the other direction. We're going to try to take our palm down towards the floor. So we're going to go palm down and then up. Palm down and then up, and then same thing. You're just going to bring your palm towards your tummy and then bring it up. So you're full, you got room. And in and out. We don't want to let this shoulder pop up off of the floor. Again, we're trying to move that ball in the socket. Good. Here's 2. And 1. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So I've got my shirt. I'm going to take it out to the side, have it kind of under my elbow, a little bit of an angle, and now I'm going to take my hand to the floor and then come back up. So hand to the floor, come back up. And it's okay if your hand does not get to the floor. That is not the purpose of this exercise. It's not, hey, if I bend my wrist, I can get my fingertips to touch. It's the movement of the ball in the socket, the movement of that shoulder joint, a little bit of shoulder blade stability here. That's what we're going for. And then a little bit of rotator cuff. Good. 1 more. Now we're going to change direction, and we're going to go down and then up. Down and up. So again, shoulder blade is down and packed. A little bit of rotation. So we're going to do a little shoulder work today, and then we should have time. We're going to get a little hip work in today too. The 2 joints that have the most mobility, that tends to get injured the most. Good. 2 and 1. Now we're going to take, if you've got a blanket or anything under your elbow, we're going to move it out to the side. Knees bent, feet flat. We're going to take our arms out, and again, I want you to try to start with your elbows close to your torso and try to get the backs of the hands to touch without arching the low back. If they don't touch, just get them as close as you can into a letter W, and then we're going to lift it up, and we're going to go to the letter V. Doesn't have to be a letter I, but letter V. Pull down to a W, letter V, and W. So reach up and then bring it down. And when we go up, we're thinking about coming down and driving the elbows down so we don't have to bring our hands in towards our chest and bend our elbows a whole lot. So up and pull it down. And then my right arm feels pretty good. My left arm I can definitely feel is a little janky. It doesn't feel quite right. I got a little bit of a restriction going on in there. Stuff isn't sitting quite right. Good, we're gonna do one more of these. Good, all right, now we're gonna flip it over onto our tummies. And you can also take that pillow and put it underneath your forehead. And we're gonna do snow angels. So taking it all the way down, again, pillow underneath the forehead if you would like. Hands by the hips, palms facing down, and we're just gonna draw a snow angel, bring the arms up overhead, and then come back down again. So you can start with your fingertips touching the floor, and we're drawing a circle, but what we're doing is we're starting at our hips, that's where we start the circle, and then our arms do half circles on the sides, and then we come together overhead. If you want to make it a little bit harder, you start to add a lift. So you might just have your touch points by your hips and then touch points overhead. If your arms do not come overhead without bending the elbows a lot, you just come as far as you can. Again, this is our shoulder exercises. So we're keeping our elbows soft, but we don't want to do a big bend in the elbow just to get our hands to the middle. So if you come up here and you look like this, straighten the arms a little bit. Good, here's 2. And 1. Let's take our hands, place them by our chest. Big breath, we're gonna push ourselves up and back into a hands and knees position. We're going to do scapular push-ups. If doing this on the floor is pretty challenging for you, then you're just going to have your hands against a wall, so you'll come to standing. Good hands and knees position, brace your core. We're gonna have our elbows straight, wrists are underneath our shoulders. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. And now we're just going to squeeze our shoulder blades together. And then we're going to push and we're gonna separate the shoulder blades. So squeeze the shoulders together and then push to separate. Squeeze them together, push to separate. And we want to keep an eye on our bodies. A lot of times when we squeeze our shoulders together, we start to drop our tummies. And when we separate, we start to round our spine a lot. Or we squeeze our shoulders and we start to bend our elbows. Very small movement. This is just a shoulder blade pinch. And again, I can feel my right side feels pretty good today. My left side is definitely feeling like it wants to do weird things. My elbow keeps kind of wanting to rotate or bend. So squeeze and then separate. This is a very small, controlled movement. Good, one more. So squeeze and push to separate. Let's go ahead and bring it back. We're just going to kind of shake out the hands. And we're going to quick do some shoulder rolls. So we're going to take our hands down to the floor. We're going to combine that scapular push-up with a little movement. So we're going to pinch our shoulders together, lift the shoulders up by the ears, push the floor away, and then pull the shoulders down. So pinch, lift, press, pull down. Pinch, lift, press, and pull down. And you can start to make these nice good circles, nice good rolls. Same thing, you might be standing, arms out in front of you, hands on a wall, still doing your circles. Good. Relax, sit back. I'm feeling it in my wrist today, so I'm just going to do a quick shakeout, and then we're going to go the other direction, and then we're going to come to standing. So again, good hands and knees, brace the core, elbows straight. This time we're going to pinch our shoulders together, pull them down, press, and lift. So pinch, pull, press, lift. We're going the opposite direction. And again, it's just a nice, good roll. I'm struggling with this one today. Good, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in. We're going to walk our hips to our heels, shake those hands out a little bit, take the foot forwards, and we're going to come up to a standing position. We're going to do our shoulder dislocates, and we're going to do our band pull aparts. And then we're going to give those poor shoulders a break. And we're going to focus on our hips a little bit. So we're going to start with shoulder dislocates. Grab a band, does not have to have handles. The farther out your arms go to start, the easier this is going to be. This exercise you can also do with a yoga strap. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging because the yoga strap is not stretchy at all. Shoulders down, brace the core. We're going to just lift the arms up, go all the way around, and then we're going to bring our thumbs together like we've kind of tied ourselves up. Open the thumbs out to the side, circle it around, and now we're going to try again to get our thumbs together or to point back behind us. That is 1. So we're going to bring it up and around, and then up, and then take it back. What tends to happen is we always have a good side and a bad side. We get to here, and then we have to bend an elbow like we're drying ourselves off. We don't want to do that. We want to try to avoid that if possible. So we just bring it out and around, and then back into the front. Now, some of you are probably thinking, my shoulders will not do this. Maybe you've had surgery. Maybe your shoulders are really bad. I just want you to get rid of the band, and I just want you to do the exercise without the band, okay? So you're still gonna you're basically gonna do circles. Like imagine you were trying to do the shoulder cars we did, but you're in a hallway. So you have a hand on a wall on both sides. So that's what you're going to do if it's just not a thing for you to be able to do this exercise with a band. And that happens. I have a couple of students that have had a shoulder surgery. They've got pins, they got all kinds of weird stuff going on in their shoulders, and their shoulders physically will not do this anymore because of that surgery. So you're just going to do the best you can. Try to keep the mobility in the one side or improve it, and then just try to maintain the best you can on the side that's a little funky. Good. I'm just going to do one more. So up and around, and then back and around. Good. Bring it in. A little bit of a shakeout. Now we're going to do our band pull aparts. And if you don't have a band, you can do this with dumbbells. If you have dumbbells, you need to hinge forwards because remember, gravity works by pulling straight down. So we're going to do 10 right, 10 left, and then 10 both. So bellies are in, feet hip width apart. Set the shoulders, palms facing up. Remember, we talked about being here, so we're trying to counteract that by taking palms facing up. Lock in your shoulder blades, lock in your left arm. Right arm only is going to go back, thumb to the wall behind you. We're trying to go for 10. We want to try not to turn our bodies. Good, couple more. I'm going to go right into the other side. Shoulder blades set, palm up, lock it in. Now your left side. Good. You can just kind of give yourself a little bit of a break. Again, brace the core, set the shoulders. Shoulder blades are down and back, palms facing up, and try to get all the way through. We want to try not to come down. Try to keep them parallel to the floor. Good. Go ahead and bring it in. Set that band down off to the side. While we're up, grab a quick drink of water. We're going to head down to the floor. If you need to do this sitting in a chair, you absolutely can. Or the first exercise, we're going to do hip cars now, hip circles. on your hands and knees or standing. If you're standing, I want you very close to a wall, okay? So that way you're not able to lean just to get your hips up there. But we're gonna be down, hands and knees. We're gonna kind of do the same thing. We're gonna do hip circles instead of shoulder circles. So hands and knees are standing. The challenge is to not lift this hip when you try to do your circle. Torso and hips are parallel to the floor. We're going to take one leg and we're going to do a little bit of a forward lift, take it out to the side, and then we're going to rotate thigh to the floor, bottom of the foot towards the ceiling, finish your circle and come in, and then we're going to take it up, out, rotate in, and then circle around. So up, out, rotate, and in, back, out, rotate, and in. So keep going. If you're standing, you're going to be up, open, rotate. I'm having a hard time with my balance today. Rotate and in, and then donkey kick, out, and in. So remember, this is your hip circle. It's okay if your hip circle is lower. I don't expect everybody to be getting their thighs super high, but if you can, up, open, circle, and down, donkey kick, back, circle, and in. Really try to make those hip muscles do the work. And then kind of the same rule applies here. If you've got a goofy hip, sometimes just your hip shape is a little different. Or if you've got pins, you know, you've had a hip replacement, you have to find that range of motion that works better for you. I'm just going to do one more here. And then take it back. Good. Bring it in. We're going to shake it out because we were just kind of mean to that other leg too. Going to take it, I'm going to go back down to the floor. I got to try to stay even, so I'm going to do a couple on this side and then I'm going to go back up to the wall. So again, reset, brace the core, little bit of a forward, open the hip to the side, circle, and around. So it's kind of a donkey kick, work your way into a fire hydrant and then back in. So a little lift, fire hydrant, rotate donkey kick, and down, donkey kick, out, and bring it in. And then same thing. If you're standing, it's just a little different. You bring it up, you open the gate, you rotate, and you bring it in. Take it back, circle, and around. And I have a mirror here. Sometimes it's nice. I know a lot of people hate mirrors when they work out, or just hate mirrors. But a mirror is just a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool because sometimes we kind of lose touch with our bodies. So it's nice to kind of see and get that outside perspective, a little bit of outside information. And you might be thinking, oh, I don't arch my back, I don't round my back. And then you watch yourself and you're like, oh goodness, I do kind of arch and round my back. So back, out, and around. Good. One more here. Up, open, circle, and then back, out, and around. We're going to bring it in. We're going to shake it out. We're going to go ahead and sit on our buns. And we're just going to go for a little bit of a 90-90. You can do this sitting in a chair, no problem. Hands by the hips, takes the legs a little bit wide. We're going to go to one side, and then we're going to go to the other. So side one and side two. And we want to try on this one, if we can, to not lift the hips. I want you to try to keep your buns glued to the floor. Now that might mean that you look like this, and that's okay. Everybody's a little bit different. We just want to try not to, tuck and round. We want to have a nice neutral spine position. Now, some of you might be a little bit more comfortable and you can be here. And I am lifting my hip a little, but again, you might be a little bit more comfortable and you can just do this without holding on, but we're still sitting nice and tall. Everybody's a little different. Here's 2 and 1. Let's go ahead and bring it in. We're going to sit nice and tall. Going to take the legs out straight in front of us. This is another one we want to be tall. Leaning back a little is easier. Sitting tall is a little bit harder. So we're going to lean back to start with. Brace your core. We're going to take our right leg, we're going to lift, and we're going to set it down, and then we're going to switch. Lift and down. What do we want to watch out for? We're working our hip flexors. We don't want to lean back as we do this, and we don't want to lift and bend our knee. I really want you to try to feel this. You're gonna feel this at the top of your quads, right here. Now, some of you might start to cramp. It happens. If it does, just stop, rest, allow your muscles to relax, and it might happen a couple times, but if you feel that cramping and then you relax and you stop, and the next time you do it, there's a really, really, really high chance that it won't do it anymore. Some of it is fatigue. Some of it is muscles getting worked in a way that they haven't been worked for a long time. And some of it is just your body trying to protect itself because it thinks it's going to get hurt. But if you reassure it, hey, you're okay, then you'll be all right. So just a nice good lift. So I feel it a little bit on this side again. This is my funky side. So I just started to feel a little bit of a cramp. Changed my foot position a little, lifted a little higher. My body's like, whoa, hey, hold on. Good, and I'm still trying to sit nice and tall. Bracing my core. We have 2 more, 1 on each side. Lift and down, and then lift and down. Good, and we're just gonna shake it out. We're gonna flip it over onto hands and knees here. So hands and knees. Take your right leg out to the side. Toe pointing forwards. Our goal is to do a little bit of an inner thigh stretch. Start with your knee under your hip. Now, if you're more flexible, your knee might be able to go out. But we start knee under the hip, neutral spine position. We're gonna rock our hips back to our buns, or our buns back to our heels, hips back to heels, and then come forwards. Rock back and rock forwards. This set of toes is about in line with this knee. These toes are pointing forwards. Your knee is kind of pointing forwards too. So take it back and then forwards. We don't want to go back and then just bring our forehead down towards the floor. If you're really tight, you might just be holding it and your motion might be very, very tiny. Good. You can kind of do this with your buns in a chair and this leg out to the side. Kind of an option. Good. Bring it in. We're going to switch it over to the other side. Same thing. Toes out, toes in line with that knee. Straight leg. Sit the hips back and then come forwards again. Hips back and forwards. And for me, this side feels so much easier, because I know my challenge on this leg is not my inner thigh. And my inner thigh needs to get a little bit stronger, but my outer thigh is the one that needs to get a little bit more stretch. Good, we're just gonna do a couple more. So rock back and forwards, rock back and forwards. Good, bring it in. I'm going to turn hands and knees. We're going to go up into a down dog. So you can be at an incline if you like. Tuck the toes under, and we're going to brace the core, lift the hips up. And this round, I want you to focus on the hamstring stretch. So I have my heels up because I am very much not flexible today, but my knees are straight and I'm not rounding my spine. I'm trying to think about a nice good stretch, but I'm stretching my hamstrings. If down dog is not for you today, just sit on your buns, take your legs out in front of you and stretch. Good. Come down, give yourself a little bit of a break, figure out where the blood's got to go. This time we're going to lift it up, down dog, and now we're going to walk the dog. So you can soften your knees a little bit. We're going to alternate, dropping one heel to the floor and then rolling through the ball of the foot and the big toe on the other. Now you can do this just standing. You can do this standing on a stair. You got something to hold on to. You got that railing. Good, 2 and 1. Good. Carefully bring the knees down. Last exercise for today. Walk the hands a little bit farther forwards. Point your toes. And we're going to drop our hips down towards the floor, stretching those hamstrings, or not hamstrings, those hip flexors that we just worked. So shoulders down. If this is not for you today, come all the way down onto your forearms and you're going to be in Sphinx. Or go all the way down onto your tummy, rest your chin on your hands. That is an option, 100%. But we're focusing on dropping the hips towards the floor more than we're focusing on trying to arch our low back. It's going to arch, but we're trying to stretch out those hip flexors. Open up that joint. Good, in 3, 2, 1. Tuck the toes under, walk it back. I'm going to walk myself up to a standing position. So I'm going to straighten my legs, forehead is down towards the floor. You do what feels good. I'm going to slowly roll myself all the way up. Good, and then bring it in, and I'm just going to roll my shoulders up, back, and down into my back pocket. I'm just going to take a couple deep breaths in. So big breath in right here. Spread those fingers, spread those toes, and exhale. Good, one more time. Big breath in and out. And you are all done.